Can Sonic the Hedgehog take on or even beat the creatures from Trevor Henderson? Well, in this video I will examine the Blue Blur and some powerful creatures made by horror artist Trevor Henderson to compare them and to see who would win. So, let's begin the video by first starting with the Blue Hedgehog. When talking about this character, there are several different versions, all with different powers, feats, and most importantly, speed. So for this video, I will choose the modern version of Sonic. Now, the Blue Blur in this modernized version is quite powerful, and can even transform into an even more powerful state, but because of the power that this form has, or really any other form, let's instead just stick with his base form. And let's also not include any other weapons, tools, or objects he may have had access to or has current access to, because most of them are not directly connected to him outside of the specific game or story he is in when he had those things. Now, for his base form stats and abilities, Sonic is massively faster than light, and due to this speed he also has massively enhanced senses and perception, so he can move around and still sense the world at these incredible speeds. Now, this enhanced perception and sense also allow him to react almost instantly and sense other very fast characters similar to him. Along with this, he's also been shown to sense and see some camouflaged objects and creatures, though this is somewhat limited. For attack potency, Sonic is high universal level in base. Yeah, this mostly comes from the fact that he was able to damage and defeat this fella, which reshaped a whole dimension and had the power to keep everything stable in said dimension. So if he wasn't there, then the dimension would just collapse. And this fella is stated to have high universal power because of this feat. Now, for durability, the Blue Hedgehog is also around this high universal level, simply because there are other comparably strong characters which he has fought and taken several hits from frequently and repeatedly. As for other abilities, the Blue Blur is incredibly agile, can use homing attacks when he curls up into the spin dash ball, and is able to cut through very tough metals and creatures in the spin dash form. Couple this with very strong willpower to resist mind control and other things that would require willpower to resist, and you got a pretty powerful hedgehog that is also incredibly fast. But now with that summary of what Sonic the Hedgehog is capable of out of the way, let's start to look at some Trevor Henderson creatures, which in this video they are going to be a Cartoon Cat, Siren Head, the Smile Room, and the Lamb. The Smile Room, a mysterious creature that takes root in place of doorways, so it can wait and snatch up anything that goes into it and then eat it. Some key characteristics of this bizarre creature is that when you step through the door, you are transported to another dimension with no way back unless you are able to travel through dimensions yourself. But while you are in this Smile Room, you will be digested very slowly. And this digestion is so slow that it is somewhat painless, and plus the digestive liquid also makes you kind of hallucinate and trip out, which further helps with any discomfort you might feel. The Smile Room can also send out some parasites that then can turn into these creatures, which are just like zombies that go out and eat for the Smile Room if it is hungry and unable to catch anything for long extended periods of time. So could the Blue Hedgehog survive being engulfed by the Smile Room? Well, mostly. Sonic would have somewhat of a hard time realizing he is trapped inside the Smile Room because he doesn't know anything about the Smile Room at all. But when inside, he would just kind of find out that he is trapped in a room, so he would try to spin dash or just punch his way out of there. This would, at worst, irritate the Smile Room, which would spit out the Blue Hedgehog, leaving him in the weird dimension that the Smile Room traps you in, or Sonic would kill the Smile Room on accident. But either way, he is stuck in this weird dimension, unable to get out, because he himself doesn't have any abilities that can really traverse through dimensions. He would have to have some sort of special trinket from the Sonic lore or some game that would allow him to actually do this. But now, if he were confronted with the Smile Room host, then he would have no problem defeating them. They're pretty weak. The Lamb. A chunk of meat that comes from another Trevor Henderson creature, which is named Big Charlie. Now, what separates this chunk of meat from other chunks of meat from the Charlie is that this one is not only sentient, but also telepathic and ethereal. Some of its telepathic abilities are that it is able to cause direct damage with telepathy, which bypasses most defense. It can cause fatal blood clots, can reverse gravity, it is able to float around and travel through screens of devices, cause why not? For attack potency, the lamb is powerful enough to be a threat to military forces, but apart from that, it is not shown to really be more powerful than this. I mean, it is possible that it could be much stronger, but let's stick with what is revealed. For defense, the lamb's durability is limited to that of a large chunk of meat with some bones in it, but because it's ethereal and incorporeal, it's completely invulnerable to any physical attacks, because it'll just phase right through it. For speed, the lamb is like any other Trevor Henderson creature, being at around much faster than a speeding car. Now, how would it fare against the fastest hedgehog? Well, let's see. Sonic would easily be able to speed blitz this thing and even outmuscle it because, Sonic is massively faster than light and high universal level. Now, Sonic is vulnerable to the telepathic attacks like the blood clots and other stuff because they bypass most defense, but at the end of the day, he is way too fast and his speed would make it so the lamb wouldn't be able to keep up with him to actually attack him. He would easily be able to dodge and escape any telepathic attacks, but what makes this an interesting and difficult fight for the hedgehog is that the lamb is ethereal and can teleport and travel through screens. Now, this is only an issue because he really doesn't have any abilities of his own to actually damage ethereal beings, at least for the most part. He usually relies on some sort of tool or trinket that he has access to in the Sonic games to actually damage those ethereal beings. But in this scenario, he doesn't have that. Siren Head, a tall, lanky, skeletal humanoid with 2 sirens as its head, which it uses to hunt, disorientate, and attack. This creature has variable size and is fast enough to outrun most cars when biped, but if it were to go on all fours, it could catch up to fast race cars and even beyond. It is also surprisingly stealthy and even quite agile. It is able to tank large explosions with no issue, and has great resistance to any slicing or cutting attacks because of its very hard to pierce skin. Some of its offensive abilities include being able to use sound in a variety of ways, large limbs to swing, and the mouths on its sirens which can crush and tear things. So could the Siren Head take on Sonic? Well, Siren Head would not be able to catch the hedgehog because it does not come at all close to the speed of the Blue Blur. Even if it uses its sirens to create ear-piercing attacks capable of damaging organs, Sonic can just move faster than the sound and avoid it entirely. Siren Head is also outmatched in both durability and strength, so unless Siren Head has its own super form or some eldritch true form, then it has no chance of winning. Cartoon Cat, a rubber-hosed creature from the old days that came to life, but with a bloodlusted twist. It is one of the most dangerous and strongest of the Trevor Henderson creatures, and it has some Toon Force. The kind of Toon Force or its degree is not really well known, but it is capable of stretchy limbs, defying laws of physics, and regeneration. Its speed is stated to be around that of a fast car, like pretty much all other Trevor Henderson creatures, but could be a couple times faster because of its high strength and status. Its exact power is not fully revealed, but what is known is that it can outmuscle, outcompete, and completely destroy any other Trevor Henderson creature. And these other creatures are exceptionally powerful, able to throw around large vehicles, destroy giant buildings, and maybe even level cities with their strength. So Cartoon Cat is at least about this strong, if not maybe a couple times stronger. For durability, Cartoon Cat is not too special when compared to other Trevor Henderson creatures. It definitely doesn't have the strongest durability, but what makes it very hard to put down is the Toon Force style regeneration, which allows for complete recovery from even near fatal attacks unless the whole creature gets destroyed. So if Cartoon Cat and Sonic fought, who would win? Well, this would be the toughest fight out of all the other characters because of Cartoon Cat's Toon Force. Sonic would at first have some trouble figuring out about Cartoon Cat's Toon Force because anytime he destroys it, it just comes back almost unfazed. But after not too much time, the massively faster than light hedgehog will figure out that you gotta destroy the whole creature to get rid of it. And since Cartoon Cat is much slower and less powerful, it's pretty safe to say that Sonic should have enough speed and power to destroy Cartoon Cat even with its regeneration. because it would only take a fraction of a second for the incredibly fast hedgehog to do all the damage necessary to actually put down the cartoon cat, making it so it can't regenerate because there won't be anything left of it.